Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into Podcast Room 303. Introducing one co-host with more nuggets than Chick-fil-A, Nick Morahan. Executive producer until we find someone better, Eric Washington. Nobody really knows what he does around here, Nevada Putnam. And now, the single greatest thing to happen to hosting in history, Jermaine Antonio Colon Mendez. On with the show.
Welcome into Podcast Room 303, episode 225. I'm your host, Jermaine Colon Mendez. This is my co-host, Nicholas Morahan. And as always, we have with us, on today's episode, we'll be getting into some NBA futures, a little double tap, maybe triple tap. We'll see how we feel halfway through the podcast. But we'll be getting into the Southeast Division and the Central Division for the 2023 NBA season. How are you doing this evening, Nicholas?
I'm good. I was going to say something about something I sent, and it's right here. This is postseason accomplishments of each MLB team in the last 15 years. Okay?
Okay.
The Red Sox, the Astros, and the Giants have won multiple World Series.
Okay.
The Braves, the Cubs, the Royals, the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Cardinals, and the Nats, the Nats have all won a World Series. The Phillies, the Rangers, the Rays, the Tigers, the Indians, and the Mets. I feel like that is literally the row of underachievers. Have won a league championship series. The Blue Jays, the Brewers, the Diamondbacks, the Padres, the Orioles, and the Angels have won a league divisional series. The Marlins, Twins, A's, and Mariners, God, how far the A's have fallen, have won a wild card series. The Rockies and the Pirates have won a wild card game. And the Reds and the White Sox have won nothing in the postseason.
That's embarrassing.
And that's why I'm hereby declaring the White Sox are winning the World Series next year.
Oh, my God. You're still riding the goddamn White Sox?
Still doing it.
Oh, my God. You make me sick to my stomach every time you mention this goddamn team.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
We can hear that, bro.
I know you can't because I was trying to switch out of my my Instagram.
Dude, you got to close your porn.
That's right. It was food porn. It was like best spot to get barbecue in Sicily. I don't know why these things pop up.
In Sicily, Italy?
Sicily, Texas, I think.
Bro, I was like, Italy's throwing down on barbecue like that? I was shook.
They're just, they're just going to try to be imitation,
Those goddamn eye-ties taking our cuisine.
Taking our Casey masterpiece.
It's tangy for your enjoyment. Awkward long silence. Let's go and get into this.
Pregnant pause.
Let's get into this NBA futures.
I miss Eric because he would give us a blind five right now, or let us rip on him for a couple more minutes.
Yeah, exactly. But
fuck that dude.
Nonetheless, he's not here. Freaking quitter. So the Miami Heat have the best odds to win this division at minus 185. Their over-under set at 48.5. To make the playoffs is minus 800. To miss the playoffs is plus 550. And their finals odds are plus 900. They finished last season as second in this division. Bro, that's so crazy to say out loud. They didn't even win their division. Made the NBA Finals. In free agency, they added Thomas Bryant and Josh Richardson. Acquired absolutely no one via trade. In the NBA draft, they acquired Jaime Jaquez Jr. out of UCLA at 18th overall. And they lost Victor Oladipo, traded to the Thunder. Max Strus signed with the Cavs. Gabe Vincent signed with the Lakers. Omar Yurtseven signed with the Jazz. And Cody Zeller signed with the Pelicans. They also added nobody in free agency. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, I think Josh Richardson was a great move. I think Thomas Bryant is going to fit right into the Miami rehab center, right? Taking players that once were lost and making them found again by making them work hard. I think this offseason is a huge disappointment for the Miami Heat.
I agree,
because they, if I just said that and you said who, like Josh Richardson, Thomas Bryant, it's because Miami was literally stocking up, saving time to get Damian Lillard was coming to Miami. he was a signature on the dotted line away from coming to Miami. Didn't it feel like that for most of the summer?
Honestly, bro, yeah. Yeah, it was almost a foregone conclusion. We kept hearing nothing but reporting about Dame in Miami. We weren't hearing about other people coming to, we weren't hearing about other teams in the race for Dame Lillard. There wasn't a whole lot of packages that the Blazers were excited about. And then after the trade to the surprise shock trade to the Milwaukee Bucks, we ended up looking at it, and they were reporting that Miami and Portland never had an open dialogue. They were never ever close on a deal, and Portland never went back to Miami to get their last final offer after they had agreed to that trade with the Bucks. So pretty funny how those reporting incidents go. Let's go ahead and pick these lines for the Miami Heat. I'm going to take the under of 48.5. I don't think they stay healthy this year, and I'm actually going to fade them to make the playoffs. I'll say no.
Did Miami not win the division last year?
Did not. So remember they were in the play-in. I mean, we could probably double check that. Let me.
I think they did. They had 44 wins.
Yeah, but
they had 44 wins and won the division. Miami had 41 wins.
Oh yeah, so Atlanta did win. That's what this says. Atlanta first.
Right, but how did Atlanta win the division with 41 wins when Miami had 44? Can you explain that to me?
Oh, I don't know. That's what I was going to go look up, because it might have been because of the play-in games.
I think Miami won the division. It says right here, Southeast. What does that mean? Oh yeah, Miami won the Southeast Division last year.
Yeah, I don't know why it says it that way then.
Huh. Yeah, Miami won. They only had 44 wins. I don't think they added enough players. I don't. I think if they probably overperformed last year. I'm going to go under. I mean, somebody's got to make it, right? Somebody's got to make the playoffs.
8 teams will make it, and we agreed that even if they make the play-in game and lose, that doesn't count as playoffs. So take that with what it's worth.
I will say yes, Miami gets to the playoffs.
All right, word. Let's go ahead and get into the Atlanta Hawks, who finished second in the division at sub 500. And I'll go ahead and get into who their odds, and then I'll reveal who they added, who they lost, etc. So the over-under for them is 42.5. To make the playoffs is minus 230. To miss the playoffs is plus 185. To win the division is plus 215. To finals odds is plus 7,500. They added Wesley Matthews via free agency. They traded for Patty Mills from the Thunder. In the draft, they added Kobe Buffkin, Muhammad Gueye, and Seth Lundy. And they traded John Collins to the Jazz. They traded Usman Garuba to the Thunder. They traded Rudy Gay to the Thunder. They signed Aaron Holiday. They waived Vit Krejci. They traded Ty Washington Jr. to the Thunder, and they waived Donovan Williams. In free agency, they added Trent Forrest.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's one pounding question right now for the Hawks, and that's how do you replace John Collins, right, and his 30 minutes per game? They don't have anybody on the roster that can do it right now. I don't think you're going to have guys step up, right? Is that Sadiq Bey? Is that Jalen Johnson? Is that a combination of some small ball guards that you kind of money ball 3 guys to replace one? right? Moneyball basketball, 3 guys to replace 1. I don't know if they can do that. It's going to be interesting to see Jalen Johnson and his development, right? He kind of started to build on it last year in his sophomore season. If he keeps that momentum up, I think he'll take sole possession of those 30 minutes that Collins leaves behind. I just don't think that. I think 42 is too ambitious of a line for the Hawks. I'm going to go under 42.
Okay.
Oh, God, somebody has to make the playoffs, huh? Oh my God. I will take them not to make the playoffs.
So you got under 42, no to make the playoffs. I love the Hawks this year. The additions of Wesley Matthews and Patty Mills to that backcourt, as far as a defense and leadership perspective comes, and the ability to hit big-time threes, especially corner threes, is going to allow DeJounte Murray and Trae Young to have even more space. I expect Trae Young to regress more towards the mean and be much more efficient. They have Onyeka, who they freed up minutes for. They have DeAndre Hunter, who they freed up minutes for. Bojan Bogdanovic is still on the squad. AJ Griffin is now out of his rookie year, so expect to see him to play a more prominent role and more experience. I'm taking the over from the Atlanta Hawks as far as the win total, and I'm taking them, yes, to win the division. And I will go as far to say that I believe the Atlanta Hawks can finish fourth or fifth in the Eastern Conference this year. And so the very next team we'll get into is the Orlando Magic, who finished fourth last year in the division. They are 36.5 over under. To make the playoffs is minus 205. Yes, to make the playoffs is plus 165. To win the division is plus 900. And to win it all is plus 30,000. Oh, I do have the Hawks as the division winner. So let me go ahead and pull up here the Magic. Hold on, Orlando. All right. So via free agency, they signed Mac McClung and Joe Ingles. Mac McClung, a dunk contest darling. In the draft, they added Anthony Black and Jet Howard on what are widely considered some question mark picks. They lost Bobo because they waived him, and free agent. I guess they still have a free agent in Michael Carter Williams, who's still unrestricted. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, I think signing Joe Ingles is going to be is going to be a good signing for this young Orlando Magic team. He's a grown up. He's been around. He's been to the playoffs. He can help guys mature. He can fill a minutes gap. I think Pablo Banchero is going to keep maturing in his sophomore year. I think Wendell Carter Jr. is Markelle Fultz. I always want to say Markelle Fultz.
It is Markelle.
It is Markelle?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. I got it right. Yay. Good for you. I think if you take away the Magic's injuries, and I think they started like 5-20 last year, right? Like awful. Mm-hmm. I think if you take that away, they're a 500 team, and a 500 team made the playoffs and surprised people last year, which was the Hawks, right? So I will take the Magic over their win total. I will take them, yes, to make the playoffs. And by the way, I have the Heat winning the division.
All right, so you are going to stick with the Heat. That's risky. Over from the Magic, yes, to make the playoffs, correct?
Yes, correct.
I love the Orlando Magic this year. I'm all over this team. 36.5 is a great line because I could smash the over confidently. I have yes to make the playoffs. It is going to be an awesome season for the Orlando Magic, and they're going to be surprising people. Jalen Suggs, Paolo Banchero, Michael Carter Williams, Gary Harris, Markelle Fultz, Morris and Franz, the Wagner brothers, Admiral Schofield, Wendell Carter Jr., Cole Anthony. I mean, the amount of young talent they have on this team is staggering. And that wasn't even – I didn't even mention Jet Howard and Cole Black that they took in the draft. So I'm high on the Orlando Magic. They were fun I said Cole Black, Anthony Black. They were fun to watch last year. They were a scrappy team that came up in some big time wins. I expect them to take that step forward. And we're kind of talking about the Orlando Magic as these darlings of the NBA. And yes, I have them making the playoffs, especially since I don't have the Heat making the playoffs. Let's go ahead and get into the very next team. We have the Charlotte Hornets, who finished – I believe they finished 5th in the division. Yeah. So they finished 5th in division, which for those of you listening at home is last. 31.5 is the over-under for the Charlotte Hornets. Minus 700 to make the playoffs. Plus 475 to minus 700 to miss. Plus 475 to make the playoffs. Plus 3,500 to win the division. And plus 50,000 to win it all. So they added Frank Ntilikina, his French name always gets me. Brandon Miller was the 2nd overall pick to them. Nick Smith Jr., 27th overall. James Najee, 31st. Amari Bailey, 41st overall. They lost Kai Jones in what is just an absolute bonkers saga with this guy. Just going on the internet saying he beat LeBron, Shaq, and MJ one-on-one, that he has a better mid-range game than MJ. Went on Instagram Live and no clue what if he was under influence or anything. He says he wasn't, but it's just a bizarre video, and ultimately ended up with him. And this all stemmed from them talking about having him in trade discussions, and then he formally requested a trade, got waived instead. They said you're not worth the headache, and then was caught dancing at his girlfriend's soccer match a few days after he got. So I don't know. That dude's definitely the hero in his own story. So we'll just keep it pushing. Kelly Oubre Jr. signed with the 76ers. Svi Mikulik signed with the Celtics. Kobe Simmons was waived. Dennis Smith Jr. signed with the Nets, and Xavier Sneed was waived. They also have Theo Maldian in free agency. Look, man, this team. Brandon Miller is going to be exciting. I don't know if it's enough.
Yeah, I mean, you added Brandon Miller, right? Clear talent, and if he can play with LaMelo Ball, and you can add a couple more pieces, I think they're 40. They have like 47 million under the luxury tax to play with, right? Some crazy amount of money, right?
Yeah.
They got Miles Bridges back.
Who just recently turned himself in for an arrest, by the way.
Oh, okay. Well, Miles Bridges is not back.
So we'll see what happens from that.
God dang it. It is pretty funny. I'm reading an article right now that says Bridges has the opportunity to show he's an improving and better person to go along with his basketball talent. All right. Well, we can put a
next.
We can put a line to that. All right, so essentially, right? The Michael Jordan sold the Hornets, right? New ownership group that normally doesn't spell good things for organization. It also doesn't spell good things when the only guy you got is a rookie draft pick who's not even or a rookie first round draft pick who's not even he's not expected to be the star, but I don't know. They won 27 games last year. They're projected 31.5 right now. Jesus. I'll ask you, Jermaine. Does Brandon Miller give me 4 games? Does he win 4 games for the Hornets this year?
So that coupled with a healthy LaMelo probably does.
Okay.
I don't think so.
I'll go over and no playoffs then for Charlotte.
I'm going under and no playoffs. Look, I'll happily be wrong on this. I hope every team is actually good, but I have no confidence in this roster. I have no confidence in LaMelo Brandon Miller partnership. Miles Bridges is probably not going to play, or at least he won't play a ton of the season. So I'm just overall out on that. So I think it's a fantastic line. I could see them winning 32 games,
right?
Very easily,
right?
Especially if they're healthy. But the problem is, I don't know if they're going to be healthy, so that's not how I want to bet this. I'm going to take the under and hope that that's smart money. Let's go ahead and get into the fourth place finisher last year. It was the Washington Wizards, who have an over-under of 24.5 to miss the playoffs, minus 2,500, to make it 1,100, plus 1,100. To win the entire division is plus 20,000. To win it all is plus 100,000. They were an active and busy team in free agency. So they added Jared Butler. Via trade, they acquired Patrick Baldwin Jr., and Jordan Poole and Ryan Rollins from the Warriors. From the Suns, they added Landry Shamet. From the Celtics, they added Mike Muscala and Danilo Gallinari. And then they added Tyus Jones from the Grizzlies. In the draft, they added Bilal Coulibaly, who played with Victor Wembanyama and shot up draft boards. And they also acquired Tristan Vucevic in the 42nd. They lost Bradley Beal, who was traded to the Suns. Jordan Goodwin was also sent that way. Jay Huff signed with the Nuggets. Monty Morris was traded to the Pistons. Chris Paul traded to the Warriors, and Kristaps Porzingis was traded to the Celtics. And they also have Kendrick Nunn in free agency. So take it away, Nick.
Yeah, so I'm live from the ground here in Washington, D.C., letting you know, Jermaine, that the rebuild is in season in Washington.
for all their teams.
They held the door open. Actually, today was the first the sellout streak for the Washington Capitals is over, apparently.
Wow.
Let's go not. God bless it. See? So I can't open Instagram.
Close the porn.
I'm trying. It's hard.
It's an addiction.
It's an addiction. I'm not gonna be able to find it. The sellout streak. The Washington Capitals had a sellout streak. It is over. The Wizards are a revolving door, right? Bradley Beal, Kristaps Porzingis is gone, as you mentioned. They got draft picks from both of that. Jordan Poole signed. Chris Paul has been flipped. Kyle Kuzma has been re-signed. Tyus Jones is a good pickup in that Porzingis trade. You add veterans for salary reasons, and you take flyers on young players that if they pan out, then you look like a genius as a Washington front office, and if they don't, well, they were young guys that weren't supposed to make it anyway. I don't. I don't think that they're going to win 24 games. I'm going to take the under. I think it's a great line. I just don't think they're going to win, and no playoffs, of course.
Yeah, if you take under 24, we got the implications.
Right.
I love this roster. I think they actually did a surprisingly good job building what is going to be a surprisingly competitive roster if healthy, right? Kyle Kuzma, Tyus Jones, Jordan Poole. They kept Denny Advia, who's still there on the roster. So Daniel Gafford is going to fill some big-time center minutes for them. I think what we have here is kind of the same thing that I see with the Brooklyn Nets, with the New Orleans Pelicans when they traded Anthony Davis, now with the Portland Trailblazers when they traded Damian Lillard. These teams that are trading away these big stars get so much in return that their rosters aren't as barren as everyone thinks. And there's just an overreaction that I think I can buy here. So I'm going to take the over 24.5. I'm going to take the absolutely not, won't be sniffing the playoffs. But yeah, I think that they get 27-28 wins this season, and everyone's like kind of shocked about how feisty of a team they are. So I think, and also Jordan Poole is freed now. So is he really the dude that he thinks he is? And if he is, and he's averaging 27 points a game or something like that, then I think it's worth the flyer on that 24.5. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand why anyone would want to bet the under, and smart money is probably with the under. But I like a lot of what they did with this team, and then they're set for the future, and I think it's pretty awesome, to be honest. So let's finish out with the exact order before we move into the Central Division.
Yeah, so I'll go Heat, Magic, Hawks, Hornets and Warriors.
Wait. So you have Miami, Orlando, Atlanta, Charlotte, and Wizards.
Yes, correct.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and take Atlanta, Orlando, Miami, Charlotte, and Washington. Oh. Dude, chill out. This is like my least favorite feature of using sheets. All right. Oh no, did I overwrite something? All right. Woo, panic. Okay, that wraps up our Southeast division. Let's go ahead and get into the Central division. We have the Milwaukee Bucks. Boy, what a team, huh? So we have the Milwaukee Bucks who finished first place last year. They're over under a set at 55.5. To miss the playoffs is plus 1,600. To make the playoffs is minus 5,000. To win the division is minus 230. To win it all is plus 850. In free agency, they added Malik Beasley, re-signed Robin Lopez. They added Cameron Payne and Ty Washington Jr. Via trade, they added Damian Lillard. Via the draft, they added Andre Jackson Jr. and Chris Livingston with both second-round picks. They lost Grayson Allen, who was traded to the Suns. Alex Antetokounmpo was waived. Javon Carter signed with the Bulls. Drew Holiday was traded to the Trailblazers. Joe Ingles signed with the Magic. Wesley Matthews signed with the Hawk. Their free agents, they also added Goran Dragic and Myers Leonard. Oh, wait, hold on. Those are free agents. Sorry, they're not signed. I've been reading that wrong this whole. Anyways, go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, so I think that if you had asked before this Dame Lillard trade, right, what do the Bucks need to do? I would say that nothing, right? They're pretty balanced, right? You can probably add a backup point guard behind Drew Holiday, right? They have a pretty complete team, right? And a team that won 58 games last year. That's nothing to scoff at. Then they go out and pull this Damian Lillard trade out of nowhere, right?
That's a fair assessment.
So how good is this team? I mean, 55, like they won 58 games last year and they just added Dame Lillard. So I'm going to crush the over.
I think that's a fair assessment.
I'm going to crush yes to make the playoffs. And I'm going to crush division winner. You know what? I'll pick the Bucks to win the NBA title. Like it's ridiculous that you basically, and I know that you as a basketball guy would not agree with this, but just me looking in, you traded Drew Holiday for Damian Lillard on this current roster in your starting lineup, and didn't really lose your depth.
They got a little light in the ass depth wise. Joe Ingles, Wesley Matthews, and Grayson Allen were all big pieces. But I mean, look, Malik Beasley is a solid pickup. Cam Payne is a solid pickup, and they kept Robin Lopez. I think I'm with you, man. Oh, I'll and one thing that I am suspecting more of this year is more of a concerted effort from star players and just NBA players as a whole to play 82 games. So I think you're going to get more participation for the whole of the season, barring significant injury, right? Which Damian Lillard and Giannis are kind of pro injury, but are injury prone. Sometimes they'll miss pro injury, right? They'll miss like 10 games here and there. But and then one thing that we're not talking about is Chris Middleton getting healthier, right? He was not healthy all of last season. And now what they're asking him to do offensively is less. So he because slides into the third option offensively instead of having to shoulder that secondary scorer for Giannis. And it kind of shifts the balance of power on this team, and it should be fascinating to see. So I'll hammer the over with you. I was considering hammering the under because 55 is a lot, but I don't want to be wrong on this team. So I'd rather be wrong taking the over than not have said they're going to win almost 60 games. Let's go ahead and get into the second place team in this division, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Their over-under is set at 50.5. No to make the playoffs is plus 700. Yes to make the playoffs is minus 1,200. To win the division is plus 200. And the finals odds is plus 3,000 as the Colorado Avalanche just scored. In free agency, they added Ty Jerome, Georges Niang, Tristan Thompson. Via trade, they added Damian Jones and Max Strus. In the draft, in the second round, they had an absolute steal with Imani Bates at 49th overall. And they lost Danny Green, who signed with the Sixers. Robin Lopez signed with the Bucks. I didn't know that. Cedi Osman traded to the Spurs. Lamar Stevens also traded to the Spurs. And Dylan Windler signed with the Knicks. I mean, those aren't losses.
Yeah, I think a lot of good moves here by Cleveland. Like Strus, Niang, and Jerome are great players that are going to help Cleveland by a lot, right? Really verified shooters in the names that I just named to help Cleveland. LeVert is still there. I think that's pretty good. LeVert really helps you when Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell sit. LeVert is kind of that glue guy that allows you to keep scoring, and you don't have to kind of fight off the droughts from Donovan Mitchell or Darius Garland. I think Danny Green and Robin Lopez is probably a loss for this Cleveland Cavaliers team. But I think maybe Damian Jones, maybe. I mean, he's a guy that you got on a team-friendly deal. He's a very inconsistent player. You got him on a team deal. Can Dean Wade be healthy this year is another question. For a team that won 51 games last year, I think that they replaced enough in Robin Lopez and Danny Green with the three players that I named to go over. So I'm going to take Cleveland over. I'm going to take them yes to make the playoffs.
Cleveland over, yes to make the playoffs. Donovan Mitchell is a fantastic regular season ball player. And yeah, I still think 50 wins is too much. I love the Imani Bates pickup, but he's going to hit a rookie wall. I don't know if the problems that they had in the postseason are going to continue into the regular season. Let me go ahead and take the over. I don't like it, though. And yes, to make the playoffs. Let's go ahead and get into Chicago here. Chicago finished third in the division. Actually, that might not be true. I think they did. Hold on. Yeah, they finished third in the division. So they're over-under set at 37.5, minus 185 to miss the playoffs, plus 150 to make it, plus 3,000 to win the division, and plus 1,700 to win it all. In free agency, they added Javon Carter and Torrey Craig for some three-point shooting. In the draft, they added Julian Phillips with the 35th overall pick. They lost Pat Bev, Derek Jones Jr., and Marcus Simonovic, who signed with the Sixers, Mavericks, and was waived, respectively. And Javonte Green, unrestricted, and Terry Taylor, restricted. Currently outstanding. Go ahead, Nick. Take it away.
Listen, I love the Chicago Bulls. I love them every year, right? I think they're going to make the playoffs every year. And every year I bet them about the midpoint to make the playoffs. When it seems most unlikely the Bulls will make the playoffs, I bet them to make the playoffs, right? Why is it always Chicago teams that I seem to think are going to do way better?
I don't know.
Losing Pat Bev was not good for this team.
Nope.
Jalen Carter Javon Carter is a good pickup. Torrey Craig is also a good pickup. I think Chicago has two options, right? And that's Do we think this roster, a roster that made the playing game with 40 wins and Pat Bev last year, do we think that this roster can compete? Right? If we think it can compete at the midpoint of the season, let's go get an asset to compete. Right? If we're out of it at the midpoint of the season, let's blow this shit up, tear down the arena, and start over. Jermaine, over to you for what Chicago team we get.
Look, dude, I'm going under, man. I don't like any of the moves. I think a lot of the guys that made key important plays for us, because our star players don't make those plays, right? They don't do the nitty gritty, the hustle things. They don't do the glue things to keep people together. Javonte Green being unsigned, losing Pat Bev, who completely changed our defense and was part of one of the catalysts that got us to the play-in, even, you know what I mean? As we limped in, Derek Jones Jr. played small ball center for us and was absolutely electric off the bench. Just made big time effort play after effort play to just the plays that people don't remember, that swing ball games, right? And we sucked at shooting the 3-pointer, and the GM said we were going to address it, and his only thing he did was sign Javon Carter and sign Torrey Craig. Yeah, they shot 40% last year, but do we have the people who are going to set them up for those catch and shoot threes for them to continue shooting that? And no, Lonzo Ball is out for another season, and that's $22 million on the books that is already guaranteed to not play 82 games. Heavy fade, under and no to make the playoffs.
If I could be so bold, Jermaine, you as a Bulls fan, this is the season you wanted to avoid. You wanted to avoid this kind of middle purgatory where it's should I stay or should I go? You would have rather the Bulls gone out and acquired a star and really made a run for it, or torn it all down and got some draft picks for it. Instead, what Vucevic is your big offseason move?
We re-signed him to a 3-year, $60 million contract, which is a fucking bargain in today's NBA, right? He's walking 17 and 12. He'll get you 40, 50 double-doubles, and he'll get exposed on defense.
Right.
And so the thing is he plays good defense, but nobody else plays good defense. So he can't do everything. Like, he's also not a shot blocker, so they're going to attack the cup. They're not afraid of anyone we have back there. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just too negative.
I'm going Bulls under. I think you said it right. Javonte Green and Pat Bev are big losses, and no to make the playoffs. I would rather, for your sake and for the sake of Chicago Bulls fans out there, the Bulls just blow it up now. Just blow it up now.
Yeah, me too.
And move on. But I feel like we're gonna be stuck in this hamster wheel for a little bit longer.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. Welcome to Bulls fandom. Let's go ahead and get into the Indiana Pacers, who finished 4th in this division last year. Their over-under set is 38.5 to miss the playoffs, -160 to make it, +130, +3,500 to win the division, +30,000 to win it all. In free agency, they added Bruce Brown, darling of the Denver Nuggets postseason run. Via trade, they acquired Obi Toppin from the Knicks. In the draft, they added Jarace Walker with the 8th overall, Ben Shepherd with the 26th overall, Mojave King with the 47th overall, Isaiah Wong with the 55th overall. They lost Chris Duarte, who was traded to the Kings, and O'Shea Brissett signed with the Celtics. Current free agents from their team last year: George Hill, James Johnson, Gabe York, all unrestricted. Take it away, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, I like Indiana, right? They've returned, I think, 11 players from this roster, or 12 players from this roster. Extending Tyrese Halliburton is good. This is crazy. Tyrese Halliburton is an all-star player who actually likes being in Indiana. So I think you need to pay that man as much money as he asked for.
All the monies,
right?
Yeah.
I think it's a great signing in Bryce Brown. Did they overpay for him a little bit? Or Bruce Brown, sorry. Bruce Brown, everybody's Bryce. Bruce Brown, did they overpay for him a little bit? Right?
They played the Indiana tax is how I like to call it.
Right. $22 million for 1 year of Bruce Brown is probably above market value. I think Obi Toppin for 2 second-round picks.
Yeah, it was a
Right.
pretty good trade.
Yeah, I think that they needed to add some size, and he's able to run, and he has a lot of stamina with kind of offense they run, which is just the constant go go go. If he ends up being a breakout player, I can definitely see Indiana filling that role of Chicago. I have him over regardless, right? At 38.5, I think they made a lot of good moves, and I don't really think they lost a lot of people. They are heavy with a lot of, again, go 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 players, guards and wings, and I would like to see if they're making it. They need to play a little bit bigger. In my opinion, there's not a lot of size on Indiana.
All right. Yeah,
I will say Indiana not to make the playoffs, but I think they're going to make the play-in game.
Okay. I have the over as well. And man, 8 teams got to make it, huh? I'll go. Hold on. Let me go take a look at this. Celtics, Sixers, Knicks, Nets, Raptors. Oh, God. Do the Sixers make it? Look, dude. Indiana, congratulations. Elimination. You made it. 5th place in this division, we had the Detroit Basketball Pistons. Their over-under is set at 28.5. Boy, did I spell Detroit wrong? I think I did. All right, so 28.5, minus 2,000 to miss the playoffs, plus 950 to make it, plus 20,000 to win the division, and plus 60,000 to win it all. In free agency, they added nobody. Via trade, they added Joe Harris from the Nets and Monte Morris from the Wizards. Via the draft, they added Azure Thompson and Marcus Sasser. They lost Corey Joseph, who signed with the Warriors. And current free agents for them are Buddy Boeheim, Hamidou Diallo, and Rodney McGruder. All right, Nick.
I mean, you can't get much worse from 17 wins, right?
Yeah, absolutely not.
You also added Monty Williams, right? They gave him the richest coaching deal in NBA history.
For sure. And Cade Cunningham should play the whole season this year.
Right? They're young, right? They have either proven NBA players, proven NFL players, that'd be impressive, proven NBA players, or highly touted prospects at every position, right? You combine that with a coach in Monty Williams who's proven that he can win and was pretty much unceremoniously kicked in the ass out of Phoenix, right?
Mm-hmm.
Give me the over on the Pistons. And you know what? I'm actually going to go I'm going to say over. I'm going to say the Pistons, yes, to make the playoffs.
Yes, to make the playoffs. Bonkers. Love the over pick. I like the talent that they put together on this roster. Jaden Ivey, right? They added one of the Thompson twins in this draft. Killian Hayes is probably going to get shipped out due to the logjam they have in minutes there. And Cade Cunningham is back, who I actually really believe Cade Cunningham is a very good ball player. And then they have just kind of an amalgam of what the fuck are you going to get out of your forwards, right? So you have Marvin Bagley III, Isaiah Stewart, and Bojan Bogdanovic. And then at center, you have kind of the same thing, right? James Wiseman. They took a flyer on James Wiseman from the Warriors. Can Monty Williams unlock him? I don't know if I have that confidence because he didn't unlock DeAndre Ayton, who was the number 1 overall pick. That was part of the reason he got shipped out. They also have a lot of tradable pieces, so I could see them selling. I'm going to go ahead and go. Oh man, I'm going to take them under 28.5, but I think they finish as close as possible. They're going to win 27.5 games. Nice. And I'll take them no to make the playoffs.
Okay.
All right. Give me your division order, Nick.
It's going to be Bucks, Cleveland, Pistons, Bulls. Pistons, Pacers, Bulls. So sad. I think the Bulls say see you at the trade deadline. They are massive sellers.
That hurt, bro. We're going to finish worse than this Pistons team.
I'm sorry.
I'll take Milwaukee, Cleveland, Indiana, Chicago, Detroit. And I agree with Nick that will be massive sellers. God, dude, we're already sucking again. It seems like just yesterday I was so happy to have Lonzo on my team. Him, DeMar, Vooch, Levine. We were so good for 40 games. If only they gave out trophies for that, like the Dodgers.
Yep. I mean, welcome to the life of a Colorado Rockies fan. We were so good for one season. Bro,
just that this hurts. This hurts my heart. Man, I hope we get some like lottery luck. Let us get another number 1 overall. I don't even know if there's anyone good in this draft. Just somebody with a pulse.
That's right.
Make me feel better.
make me feel things again.
Oh boy. All right. You got anything else for them, Nick?
Nothing else for me.
Oh boy. Milwaukee Bucks, that's a pretty safe pick for winning it all, right?
Yeah.
All right. So for those of you listening, we have one more division. It'll be the Atlantic Division. It'll probably come out once the season's already started next week, but it'll be recorded at least on the day that the season opens or, the day after. So we won't be too far behind on that. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Podcast Room303. I've been your host, Jermaine Colon Mendez. This has been my co-host, Nicholas Moorhan. And as always, we have with us. We'll see you next time when you come on down and step into the room.